I am from Bogota, Colombia. I was born in 1993.
Colombia is a country located in South America and is home to over 50 million people. It is also a country that is full of lush rainforests, towering mountains, and coffee plantations. I asked Miss Tatis how she felt after leaving her family to go to Virginia.
It was really hard. I would say like a lot of Hispanic families were very united, and we are there for each other, to help each other. So it was hard. I lived in Virginia, but it was kind of DC area because when you live there, you can see a huge difference between old Virginia and northern Virginia, which is.
After she left her family, Miss Tatis traveled to live in Virginia. Washington, D.C. is full of historical artifacts and memorials of America's historical events and people. Founded in 1790, the nation's capital has been a dynamic city with plenty of highs and lows to match its place in American history. The D.C. War Memorial, which honors local residents of Washington, D.C., is the only memorial dedicated to World War I on the National Mall. Miss Tatis and her husband moved by vehicle, creating fun memories they will cherish forever. After D.C., Miss Tatis and her husband decided to move to Corpus Christi shortly after moving there. Corpus Christi is home to over 300,000 people and has many historical aspects behind it. Corpus Christi is known for the beaches, USS Lexington, and the city where Whataburger was created, and many more. I asked Miss Tatis how she felt and the cultural differences she faced when she arrived to Corpus.
I felt kind of shocked a little because I couldn't believe that. I'm not saying a bad way, but coming from DC, where you have something going on all the time, there's like where DC is, you have Baltimore like an hour away, you have little city in Virginia, it's called Alexandria, the same thing, it's like an old town but they have something going on. You have Annapolis, you have like all these little cities all around DC, you always have something to do. On the purpose you have that strong Hispanic heritage, and so it's a lot more, Mexican, Hispanic like me, so that's it.
During the trip, Miss Tatis and her husband made stops at different locations, such as Arkansas, North Carolina, Mississippi, Tennessee, and many other places. Along the way, she tried new food selections, saw historical landmarks, and participated in leisure activities. She mentioned going to the Johnny Cash Museum and Elvis Presley's house, making this a memorable trip to Corpus Christi with her loved one. Looking back at her journey, I asked Miss Tatis what important lessons she learned along the way.
More personal. I would say that when you travel, I feel it's always very important to talk to the people from the place you're traveling to. When you talk with the people, you can learn about their culture, how they express, how they see themselves in this country, how their beliefs are different than yours, and it's just a learning.
Overall, Miss Tatis and her husband had a successful trip to Corpus Christi. They made new memories and had a once-in-a-lifetime road experience. With living in Washington, D.C. and traveling to move all the way down in South Texas, Miss Tatis saw a lot of change in cultural differences. The food and entertainment in D.C. is a lot different than here in South Texas. Along the way, she and her husband faced some hardships and rocky situations. However, that didn't get to them. As she stated, the most important lesson she learned from the journey was talking and communicating with others. A journey should be when the trip is more important than the destination.
Can you please tell us who you are and the experience you'll be talking about today?
I'm Ruben Johnson, and I guess we're going to be talking about some of my life experiences today.
Born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, Ruben Johnson was born into poverty. Alabama's poverty rate was typically above 16%, with highs of more than 20% during recessions, such as occurred in the early 1980s. He grew up in the projects. Despondency was everywhere.
I saw how we struggled. We saw a lot of violence. Right? We saw a lot of despair. We saw individuals who felt they didn't have, they just didn't have the mental fortitude better, or didn't think they had potential to amount to anything. A lot of individuals out there who lack inspiration because of what they saw around them. We were approaching the late 80s, and music was changing, ever evolving, and some of that music was, the language was pretty rough, and some started glorifying gangs.
Mr. Johnson knew that he couldn't stay within his negative community. After witnessing one of his own uncles break free from this lifestyle, he knew what he had to do: escape.
Uncle Ruben. And I saw that he also went to the service. He did his 4 years. He got a government job. He's working with a railroad company, and he was living quite nicely. So of course, now I kind of gravitated to him. When I was looking up to him, he was like my role model. So I said to myself, wow, well, if Uncle Ruben did that and he exited the service and he got a government job, then I think I'm going to follow that blueprint.
And that's just what he did. By the time Mr. Johnson was 18, he had joined the military. During the 1990s was when enlistments of the U.S. military peaked, causing Mr. Johnson to instantly be a part of one of those chosen few.
I was on a repair ship, another repair ship in Guam, and our main job was to go to Japan. We were sitting in Yokosuka, Japan for about a month or so and fix and repair other surface ships and submarines. So I've been to Australia, Singapore, and South Korea, in addition to Guam. And you also know I was stationed in Hawaii as well, because after I left Guam, my first tour, I went to Hawaii, and then we went back to Guam. But having the pleasure of meeting people from different walks of life, you know, my brothers and sisters from all over from the United States, from guys and girls from New York, guys and girls from Cali, guys and girls from Iowa, many parts of the states. We had this one common cause, and that was the security of our nation, and then on our off time, we got to sit down and talk to one another. I think a lot of those life experiences, a lot of camaraderie, again, because you're on the ship, you're on that ship, you salute. Once you go across that brow, it's all business, okay? There's no time for horseplay. But then at the same time, to know your counterpart, spend some time with people from different cultures. And it's just those things and being hesitant, but you're overcoming those phobias, or what do you call it? Culture shock. Culture shock is, you just, you're a little hesitant. But I think it's those experiences that allowed me to grow to be the person I am today. And I always tell you, don't say never, don't say no. At least try it once before, you just say, ew, ooh, I know that looks nasty, because you just never know.
With that in mind, Mr. Johnson was not only able to adapt, but was able to welcome differing cultures and customs with open arms. Because of this, he was able to meet his future wife while being stationed in Guam.
Of course, one of the main stops were the mall. And I had seen the mom there. I recognized her as a cashier. And I kind of asked, hey, what is there to do? What's going on here? What's the place? Where's it hang out? And I guess there's this club called the Onyx that a lot of people went to. I had went out and I saw her out, and we spoke. We talked like all night. And the rest is history. Wife her up, girlfriend, wifed her up. Culturally, she ate totally different than what, as we hear traditional Americans, how we eat. It's totally different. So I had to implement a lot of her foods into my diet. And of course, when we had Rose, now just this thing about me getting out and going doing something different totally changed everything. So now I have somebody who's dependent on me, which is your mother and your sister. All right?
Looking back on all he's done after traveling from all over the world and meeting people from every corner of the earth, Mr. Johnson found himself happily married with a family and is now settled in South Texas, where all is well.